Welcome to This Week in the PNFL. I'm your host, Mark Hill, and along for the ride is Mitch Grawl, Super Bowl champion Mitch Grawl, and Dean Chambers. How you doing, guys?
Very good.
Fantastic.
All right, I guess we're going to have to change. Every time I do the intro, I have to say Super Bowl winning champs, Mitch Grawl.
I just assumed you were going to change the theme music for our show to the Oilers fight song.
No, we're not. No, we're not doing that.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No,
All right.
no.
Yeah, Bunks would have really loved that.
Huh?
I mean, it would make sense, but you're the host.
No, all three of us are the hosts. So yeah, it's a three man booth here. So yeah.
So you think the Houston Oilers are happy enough already without that?
Yeah, I mean that's all we need now. Yeah, have a montage of Houston's highlights and a montage of Bum Phillips and Earl Campbell and Billy White Shoes Johnson and Joe Tolliver. No, we're not doing that.
You're just missing out on how happy the Houston Oilers will be.
Yes, I know. They would be ecstatic. But yeah, so I had a little hiatus, health issues, so we're not going to touch on that. But hey, we are back. The train keeps rolling. First off, congratulations to our co-host and champion, Mitch Grawl. So we didn't get a chance to talk about that after the victory. So we're going to jump into that. We'll have a bunch of other topics that we're going to run through. We'll talk about the off-season free agent signings, draft, post-draft, training camp, plays, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot to get caught up on. So quick discussion over the Super Bowl. Obviously, you guys know that for those that was on the Discord channel, from what I was told, you guys had a very interesting game as Houston took that one 21-14. So I'm not going to go through the breakdown because you guys already know that. But let's go ahead and talk to the winning coach. So after trying numerous times, Mitch, how does it feel to make it to be the last one standing?
Well, it feels really good, Mark, and I've learned a lot since that game. I've learned that when I wake up in the morning, that I piss excellence now, and it's really refreshing when I get up in the morning and go and do my normal bathroom routine. When I look outside and look into the sky, it's a nice Houston Oilers blue color, and the birds around my house now chirp the theme song. So it's really, really wonderful, almost like a Disney movie. It's so wonderful out there. So I encourage any of you all who have not won a title to do so. It's pretty life changing, and I think you'll enjoy it quite a bit. So Mark, that's all. That's about it. I guess from me.
You know what I have to say? Getting a little bit closer to earth here, and I think it was impressive. You started out the season 2-5, and then you won 12 games straight. You won your last 9 regular season games to finish 11-5. That was truly impressive. And 3-0 in the playoffs. What I'm curious about, what can you tell us about what you did differently from the first 7 weeks when you started 7-5 versus those next 12 weeks when you went 12-0? I mean, clearly you must have done something different to go 12-0 as opposed to starting off 2-5. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, and actually, this first half of the season, the time I was putting into my preparation wasn't as high as it normally would be. I guess my normal process, I was trying to, in some cases, I was having to reduce my process down. But then the second half of the season, I was able to put in my normal effort and normal process for preparation, and it that created a much different result and much more crisp game plans, and obviously led to that streak. So that was the biggest difference, was being able to do my full preparation process the second half of the season.
Oh, Barney, Barney, we're gonna have to deal with this all season. Thanks a lot, Barney. You should have won the game. This is what this is of your making, Barney. That's all we're gonna say. Oh, all right. Well, congratulations. Hard earned.
Barney went to the Super Bowl two years in a row, I believe, and lost both of the Super Bowls. And I believe the real life Vikings went to 4 Super Bowls and lost them. So it's just halfway there.
Yep, halfway there.
What about realism? I mean, you can't get any more real than that.
Yep. But it was a good game. So I watched it offline, but definitely was a good game. So, so we ran through that, and after that, you guys know there's a little respite, and then we had to clear out our practice squad players, and then we, turn the clock. We had physicals. You had guys that pretty much retired out of the league. Then we went into our free agent signing. So from the two of you guys, anything really stand out for you guys regarding the free agent signings? Who was able to get a steal on a player, or is it pretty much the standard, you tag your players and then just keep moving on? I remember seeing a couple of guys, I believe, went to different teams. So what did you guys see from that?
Well, there were players, but I think it was mostly just depth type players as usual.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as Rich said, no one's really losing their superstar players in the process. That's when, granted, it kind of gets some people agitated, but he points out there's plenty of points that most teams have to spend to sign most of their really good and retain most of their really good players. So the free agency process is mostly just those players they're not worth signing a contract to, and you might try to re-sign them for 1 point, when free agency opens. So they're mostly just depth type players. There wasn't really a lot of significant. I mean, there were a few good players. I think there were a couple good wide receivers, a few good linebackers, maybe a defensive lineman or two, or I think some teams. I don't know that anyone signed a starting quarterback in free agency, but there were certainly some backup quarterbacks that were signed. A few running backs, a few of them might actually start, but running backs are. I mean, even the best running backs are not that much better than the average ones. So I don't know that it made that much difference. I mean, I think teams just filled spots. Right. And in some cases, I think they signed free agents to fill spots where they thought that the rookies in the draft weren't ready to play yet. So, they'll sign that third halfback or the backup quarterback or the fifth wide receiver or something like that in free agency because they didn't think they would, draft a player high enough at that position from the draft that would be ready to play. So I think that a lot of that is what was going on.
Okay. Mitch, you want to add to that?
Yeah. Wasn't quite sure why Seattle signed a fullback and then drafted a fullback after they had a fullback on the roster, but that was a little surprising. I know for me, I was very happy to pick up a young starter caliber level quarterback to be my heir apparent to Baker Mayfield. As everyone knows, he's getting long in the tooth, and I now have Trey Lance, who is near max in strength, in intelligence, and in discipline. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how many championships I can win with Trey once Baker retires, which, Baker's not going to give up the reins yet. He's still got some juice left in him. So I look forward to that. But other than that, though, most of what Dean was talking about is true. I mean, I don't know if there are any blockbuster. I know there are some players that some people were overbidding for, but as far as any blockbuster signings or what have you. I'd say not so much.
I'll say good luck with that because Trey Lance is really good at completing 35% of his passes. He just does not play up to his ratings. I mean, he's been with like 3 different teams now. He was drafted by Chicago, traded to me, and it wasn't actually part of it. It was a separate trade, but at the same time that I traded Justin Fields to Chicago, then I traded him. I don't know where I traded him. Was it Jacksonville? Was it Indianapolis? Somewhere else? I mean, he's been shuffled to many teams and ultimately got released because he wasn't worth signing to a contract. So I don't know that it may work out. It may not. I mean, it's a gamble, but I don't think there's a very good likelihood that he's going to be a successful starting quarterback.
I think he'll be just fine.
Okay. Well, to address the issue of the fullback, now that it's all said and done and it's over, that was kind of a slip up on me because I drafted one. It was not my intention to pick up another one. I just kind of looked.
I wasn't sure if you were trying a new style of offense or something.
No,
where you're going to have max protection with 3 fullbacks and 2 tight ends or something.
No, I'm looking at my roster right now, and when I looked at what my on my files, truthfully, I should have. Who was it? Roundtree. Yeah, Roundtree. I should have. He shouldn't have been signed. I should have just let him go and then just go with Horvath and Evans. So
you could always try something new. You could do like a new version of the wishbone offense with 2 fullbacks and a halfback, and see if you can.
I could tinker with it, but
or you can reach out. Maybe that guy's still in the Facebook group who wanted to use 5 tight ends. Maybe you can reach out to him for some of his
5 tight ends and 3
groundbreaking strategy. Maybe he would be available to mentor you on how to use those types of players.
5 tight ends and 3 kickers. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was. Hey, look, every once in a while you make a mistake. In this league, you really can't. But, yeah, it was not my intention to carry 3. It was just something that I saw the guy out there. I saw a shiny object in the draft, and I said, ooh, I want that, and not realizing that I had another individual. So he's on the trade block if anyone wants him. If nobody wants him, then we'll see what happens.
Maybe you should do what James did, and instead of hiring a coach to coach his team, maybe you should hire a general manager to help you keep up with those roster moves.
No, I got it.
Okay,
I got it.
Coaching. Is there any truth to
maybe I'll steal the GM from the Houston Oilers.
Is there any truth to the rumor that Great White Shark is going to be the new offensive coordinator of the Houston Oilers?
That man will never step foot in Houston. We will call Tom Homan and have that guy deported.
Oh, wow. Ouch. Okay.
You're denying the rumor.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so he's not
categorically.
He's not going into Houston, huh?
No.
Okay. All right, so we had our off season, and then from there, guys, we pivoted on into the draft. So, taking a look at our draft, I'm kind of curious about your guys' take on it. I do believe at one time we had a list of what the ratings and how everyone was ranked within their draft.
Actually, I do have a draft ranking there, Mark. If you and the listeners are curious to see how everybody turned out,
by all means, yes.
All right. Well, everybody, I'm sure everyone has been waiting for the annual post-draft analysis. And because I know everyone always agrees with every one of my rankings and assessments here. And so, as I have been working here, with Elon and his team, big balls to, get my algorithms and all set up here to pull this together. It's actually some teams that you might be surprised at actually who had a good draft, and then some teams that maybe won't surprise you quite as much, at least based on the settings here that I have. And we have a host here on this call that actually had the second highest rated draft class this year. Would anyone like to take a guess who that is?
Atlanta.
No.
Houston?
Seattle.
Oh. Well,
Seattle.
Well, I
don't know. There are some rumors swirling that Seattle may have had a little help on the draft. But
yeah, I had some. I was
Seattle.
I was
actually,
like Drake. I was like Drake.
Mark,
I had some.
You were tied for second in my draft class rankings. You were tied with Pittsburgh, which I don't know if that's a surprise to anybody. Everyone knows Pittsburgh has a sound front office. Las Vegas had a solid draft based on my calculations. And then the team that had the number one draft class based on how I calculate up the value, the picks, the talent level, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, the New York Jets. So I don't think that is a surprise to anyone knowing the front office. Houston, since everyone always likes to say, oh, well, Houston always finishes number one because, it's based on his Actually, Houston, we were number 5 behind those other 4 teams. So your top 5, Jets, Pittsburgh, Las Vegas, Seattle, and Houston, your top 5 draft classes. Now, as we shift over and we look at those, bottom 5, or bottom 6, there's a bunch of ties. We have a couple of teams tied at 13, at 15, 17, 18. So I guess we're going to say your bottom 6 teams down here. Some of these might be surprises. Some of these might not. Y'all can judge by how that piece of it. But the 2 teams that are tied for the 13th best draft class, Jacksonville and Chicago. Tied for 13th. You've got, for number 15, tied for 15, you've got San Francisco and Atlanta. Number 17, the new, transferred over Buffalo Bills, the 17th ranked draft class in the league. And bringing us home with the number 18, Mr. Irrelevant draft class, would be the New York Giants. So there we go. Your bottom 6, Jacksonville, Chicago, San Francisco, Atlanta, Buffalo, and the Giants. So that is the wrap there from the draft show. And so I'll turn it over to you all to make your comments.
2 questions. Which teams were 6 through 10?
6 through 10, we had New England, Indianapolis, Denver, Washington, Philadelphia, and then after that it was that there were a couple of folks tied at 9. So you had Washington and Philadelphia were tied at 9. So so your top 10 would have been the Jets, Pittsburgh, Las Vegas, Seattle, Houston, New England, Indy, Denver, Washington, Philadelphia.
Did your system calculate any kind of criteria based on what picks they had available? I mean, if a team only had later round picks, did it calculate how well they used those picks?
Actually, yes, Dean. Yeah. Actually, yes. Part of the formula is to take the average draft position of each team and then combine that with the average draft value of the player. So, for example, if you have a lot of 5, 6, 7 round picks, but you're drafting players that maybe should have have draft grades of rounds 3, 4, and 5, then you're actually going to be rewarded for that on this system. And so it does take that into account.
Okay. But I would imagine the one thing that would be even tougher to take into account is to what degree that these teams filled needs. I mean, I'm sure Steve would tell you that each of those picks he took were to fill certain needs, even though your system said that his draft class was what, 17 or whatever.
That is correct. Yes. And no, obviously the calculation here isn't going to be able to pinpoint the specific needs that a coach thinks their teams have. However, what it can say is that the players you pick to fill those needs might not have been very talented.
Ooh.
Yeah, and you know that of course, since all the players are between 98.5 to 99.3% of max, it's all a wash, right?
And it doesn't matter anyway, but it makes it fun for conversation.
Yeah, because if Chicago can be number 15th and other than last season, continue to win 12 or 13 games every season, then maybe it's all academic.
Probably.
Maybe it's really academic. You can draft a 17th rated class by your criteria every year and win 12 games, or you can draft top 5 by your criteria and go 5-11.
Yeah, I would say that this is an off year for Chicago. Typically, they are a top 5 draft team, if I remember correctly. I don't have it all in my head, but yeah, the difference between just kind of give you an idea as far as the average talent per pick for these teams. If I rank the average talent per pick here from top to bottom, Pittsburgh actually their talent per pick was the best at not that this calculation wouldn't mean anything to anybody, but it's .4653. Philadelphia actually has the worst talent per pick at 67.38. However, because Philadelphia was able to draft better value at their picks, they actually ranked out in the middle of the pack versus being last. Where Chicago, since we're talking about Chicago, their average talent per pick was about .2, .16 below, I guess, Pittsburgh. So they were, I don't even know what the heck that is. What is that? 14th in average talent per pick. I don't know. But as far as average talent per pick goes, Pittsburgh, the Jets, the Raiders, Seattle, and New England actually were our top 5 in talent per pick, in case anyone was wondering.
Let me ask you a question about a specific player. The defensive tackle I took in round 3, what did your system assess his value at, and was he picked too early or too late for his value?
All right, let me go look here. So, based on my criteria, are you talking about Chris Jenkins?
No, the defensive tackle that I took in the 3rd round.
Dwayne Carter?
Yeah.
Okay, so Dwayne Carter. All right, so he was drafted number 43 in the draft. And I had him ranked out as the number 68 player in the draft, so he was a -25.
Okay.
Yeah, I drafted that spot because he was what I thought was the last good defensive tackle that was left.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure how you had him ranked 68. I had him ranked higher than that. So.
Well, not the 68th rated defensive tackle, the 68th rated overall player.
Yeah, I think he was worth more than that.
Mm.
So, anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I was like I was trying to tell Mitch earlier. Yeah, rumor has it that we were kind of like Drake. We had ghost writers, ghost GMs doing a couple picks on the first day of the draft, so we wouldn't hold up the line, because I'm quite sure that it's key to try to get the draft going as quickly as possible and get through it. So yeah, we had some ghost GMs with us. So yep.
Teams are to get them picks that ranked below those spots.
Say again now.
Say what now?
Did that, was that a benefit to those teams that had those picks, or did that get them players that were drafted too early for those spots?
You talking about like teams who had later round draft picks?
No, the picks that were allegedly picked by the ghost drafters. Did those fit from that, or did they?
He's referring to see. I'm assuming you're referring to Seattle because I was not available during that first day, so I had a combination.
Seattle got some amazing picks by the ghost GMs, from my understanding.
Well, there was a little bit more to the story because one of them, I think the first rounder, I'm not sure if the first or the second rounder was on my list. I got to see which one it was. But yeah,
I can tell you who the ghost GMs did not draft: the fullback.
Mm-hmm. I still wanted the fullback. So I'll put it like this: if you guys post surgery, you guys would not have. Yeah, you guys probably would have wanted me in a draft. I would have been drafting kickers and punters all day long. So yeah, post surgery, come home. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to a draft. Yeah, no, that wasn't happening. So,
I remember it was controversial a few seasons ago when Green Bay drafted a fullback. I think it was in the third or fourth round, and he said, "Well, it was the best fullback in the draft. I got the number one fullback." And because people thought, "Yeah, that's a little too early to draft a fullback." So
yeah, you normally get them like what 5, 6, or 7,
or afterwards.
Oh yeah,
in free agency,
if at all, yes. So
yeah,
hey, you use the fullback.
A little
and
bit
just start running back.
Controversial in drafting a tight end in the first round, I guess. And
yeah,
as far as I know on that.
Good thing about tight ends is that they can block, they can go out and catch passes, and they're very versatile on the special teams as well. It's always good to have a top flight first round caliber tight end on your roster.
Yeah.
No better than a fourth round tight end. Although I think I drafted third round.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, guys. So went through our draft and went through the draft class where everyone was ranked. Then after that, we pivot on over to our just recently completed training camp. I don't know if there's an updated list on who is left out.
Actually, all are in.
Okay, they're all in. Yep, I see it. Yep, they're all in. So that was done. I think it was ahead of time. Yeah, because once you do it.
Yeah, I've actually looked at the files since Rich sent out the post training camp update, and it looks like one of those fullbacks has decided to hold out a training camp mark. So you might need to go and check that out.
Yeah, I have to take a look and see. He didn't move the needle any.
I think he's holding out. I think he thought he was going to get playing time when he signed that free agent contract, and then you drafted that fullback, and now he's upset.
Oh, that's fine.
Anyway,
that's fine. I can find. I got a spot for him.
I think he said he wants to get traded to Green Bay so he can run those run left plays.
There you go. You can do that. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Looking at where I'm at right now, I could see. I already know who's going to be starting. I know who my number 2 is, and I know who's going to be who's going to be listed as a practice squad player. Anyone that's looking at can see. So I like to normally carry 2, but I made the mistake and I'm carrying 3. But hey, that's easily can be fixed. So, all right. So after we do the draft, we pivoted over to the training camp. We got the training camp numbers in. I have not had a chance to go through them yet from my last glance. But each one of you guys will be looking at your roster. Hopefully you guys had a good idea of where to place your numbers at. What the minimum maximum is 5 on the minimum, and was it 65 or 70 for the max you can allocate?
65.
65? Okay.
65 because you have to put a minimum of 5 in everything, and when you put 5 in everything,
it pretty much holds it. Yeah.
A max of 60 points or something. So
yep.
The 5 minimum basically dictates that the max is 65.
Yep.
Allows you to put everything else on one rating with 5% on the other 7 ratings. So it's 5 and 65. It's just where the math works.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys were able to look at, I think there was a spreadsheet that was going around a while back by Charlie where you could plug the numbers in and it would tell you if you, when you did your practice squad, or actually, sorry, when you did your training camp, if you put a certain percentage of a certain area, you would see if it went up 1 point, 2 points, did it go up any points, or just stay flat. So hopefully you guys used all that, use that particular app to
see that number. If training camp raises a rating to 84.5, that rounds down, and if it raises it to 83.5, that goes up to 84. So on some of those ratings where if you had like an 84 and 25% were raised to 84.5, you had to use 30% to get to 84.6.
Exactly.
To round 5.
Exactly.
That's one.
So, and
I always have to remember.
Yep, and then there's that chart that Charlie had also. I think it was Charlie that put it out, where you could actually plug the numbers in and you could see, based on where you put your percentage, what the numbers would go up or down to be. So that was something that we need to take a look at. I think that covers the training camp. So we are at where we are now. Training camp's been completed. And now we're looking at getting your practice squad players together, what you're going to put on practice squad, and what your starting lineup is going to be. And then I do believe the games start not this coming weekend, but the weekend.
February 28th.
Yep, February 28th starts up. So guys got to get ready. There's a new PPP or playbook and profile.
There is some really interesting quarterback-related news in this draft. And you know what that is?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're no longer going to have a quarterback controversy in Minnesota anymore because he traded Tua to the Denver Broncos.
Oh, wow.
So he's all in on what's his name, Drew Lock?
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no quarterback controversy in Minnesota this year.
Yeah, Barney's, he said that, you've got to throw at least 6 interceptions in the, in a big game to get benched in Minnesota.
and Locke will have at least 6 fumbles. Yeah. Now, there is another quarterback controversy, and that is with the Giants. Did y'all see what happened there?
No, what happened over in New York? What happened with the Giants?
He drafted Jaden Daniels, and somehow magically Jaden Daniels got transformed into Shedeur Sanders.
Ah, he changed his name, huh?
Yeah, the name got changed, and we had that little bit of controversy about name changes, and people started saying, "Well, maybe we want to change these plays to this and change."
Yeah, it kind of. I can see it getting out of hand.
Yeah, I actually petitioned to have Baker Mayfield's name changed to Dan Pastorini. Since that was a Houston Oilers quarterback during the Earl Campbell days, but I was told that didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the name Jaden Daniels will now appear in the next draft, where Shedeur Sanders would have been in that next draft.
Yeah,
so
he'll probably change it around. Yeah.
And the good news is it'll probably be the exact same ratings, so
yeah,
no big loss.
Yeah, they'll be clones.
Yeah. So, all right. I think that pretty much got us caught up with most of the stuff that's going on. So, anything else you guys want to address? I know there was something that you wanted to address during the pre-show, Dean.
Yeah, I guess. What do you all see happening this year? Which teams? This might be kind of controversial, but we could use to stir up the pot here on the show. Which teams do you all see maybe improving this season on what they did last season, and what teams do you think might take a step back? Because you know that there are always some teams that will move up and some that will move down. I mean, everyone can't, all win more games than did last year. There's a fixed number of wins and losses that are awarded in our 16 weeks of regular season games. So who do you all see? Which teams do you all see moving up and doing better this season, and who do you think will take a step back?
I think going for let's say let's say look at for a repeat or to continue on, I definitely see Mitch pushing to go back to back or more than that, because he's finally tasted that mountaintop, and I don't think he's going to be wanting to come down anytime soon. So he's going to try and do everything he can to hold on to keep it going. Moving up, I could see Vegas and Denver taking another step. On the decline, that's a good question.
Maybe we should go by division.
Ooh, if I had to go by division and pick one by division,
is it an automatic that the Jets win
I think
the AFC East? Buffalo could challenge.
I don't think I think Buffalo could put up a good challenge against them. Yeah. And then
what do you see in the NFC?
Over on the NFC side, I think if you catch them at the right time, they could take a step back, and I would say San Francisco. And I know they're going to say, "Ooh, you're taking a swipe at Charlie's." Like, no, even though I don't
seasons, but he's taking a step back sometimes.
Yeah, he's taking a step back sometimes, and if he catches the wrong team at the wrong time, those things can compound and cause some issues. So, definitely, he would need more. I would see him needing to do more. So,
is Brock going to continue performing as a starter? Or is he going to kind of start playing like Trey Lance?
Ask me after game 1.
Notice I didn't say Justin Fields. I could have said that too.
Yep. So,
what do you see happening in my division?
Let's see. Philly's going to be playing strong. I see Philly, Washington. Between the Giants and the Falcons, that's a toss-up because I don't know which one of you guys are going to show up throughout the season. Is it going to be the one that can actually go out there and do stuff and, go out there, scrap and fight, which, if I'm not mistaken, put you in the Super Bowl? Or is it going to be more just kick back, nonchalant, not putting forth the effort? So, based on that criteria, that's the way you guys are going to go. If I was forced to pick, truthfully, I can't really pick. I predict Washington and I need my glasses. Washington and Philly, I could see those two battling it out all season. On the West side, I called it earlier. I could see San Francisco possibly taking a step back. Barney's going to go ahead and try to solidify it and build himself back up. And then it's just a matter of what the other 3 teams are going to do. So. Mitch, what about you?
Yeah. I'm just kind of looking around here. I would say a team that will take a step back will be Jacksonville. They've averaged 4 wins a season in the NFC East, and now they're going to the AFC East, and now going to the AFC West, which is a much deeper division. So I would see that probably going from 4 wins down to maybe 2 for them. Maybe things squeeze out 3. Because of that, I think Las Vegas has an opportunity to move up a little bit with Jacksonville coming into the division, so that can help them. I think bigger movers. I mean, obviously, I think you'll see Chicago, kind of leapfrog up, and someone already said San Francisco will probably take a step back because of that change. I think Green Bay. Is going to take a step up, and I think they're going to get. They're going to go from 4 wins. I could see them maybe getting 7 wins this season, trying to knock on the door of 500. I think that could be a nice leap up for them. the NFC East. I mean, Washington will own that division again. I don't know what to expect out of Philadelphia with Dan coming back. We know he's been, he's historically he's been about a 9, maybe 10 game a year coach, but it's been a few years, so it might take him a little bit of time to get himself back in the groove. But if he does come back and he's at that 9, 8, 9, 10 win level, that means that Atlanta and the Giants are going to continue to struggle in that division with Jerry already solidified at the top. And I think the Jets will win that AFC East again. I think Buffalo will probably be 9 wins, maybe 10, and it's going to come down to Houston, Pittsburgh, and Denver fighting for 2 of those 3 playoff spots, with all 3 of those teams in double-digit wins last season. We'll see if that can be the case this year. So should be an interesting season.
I have one quick question before I answer the question.
Yeah.
Are you thinking that Jacksonville is going to take a step back because of relocating to the AFC West? Is that the reason for that?
Yes.
Okay. I think the Jets will be competitive. They always are. I think with Buffalo, depending on a number of factors, I can see Steve going anywhere from 8-8 to 12-4. And I think if he were to go 12-4, he would have a good chance of winning the division. So I think the range of possibilities are anywhere in between that. So that remains to be seen. I think in the AFC West, I think I've heard differing opinions on whether some people think Denver would be competitive or take a step back. I think Houston and Pittsburgh will certainly be competitive, but I think Denver will still be in that mix. Jacksonville may actually improve, but then because of being in the division, may not win more games, so it's still going to be tough. I don't know what to think of Las Vegas, whether they're going to take a step up or continue to be in that area of competing for a berth in the Saco Bowl. As far as the NFC, I think Chicago will take a step up from where they were last season. I think Chicago will be competitive. Whether they'll win the division over Minnesota remains to be seen. San Francisco may get in the playoffs again and may take a step back. Either one could happen. I think Green Bay could possibly improve, but we'll see. And I think on paper you'd have to say that Washington is favored to win the NFC East, but other than that, we'll see. I think the disadvantage for Philadelphia might be if it takes a few weeks for Dan to get up to speed, then Philadelphia may not catch up to Washington in the standings after that. So that remains to be seen.
All right. So, from looking at that, let's look at the week 1 games. The list is already out. We don't have the official line, so we're not going to do that yet. We're going to run through a quick review, though. But looking at week 1 games, I see we have Buffalo and the Jets. Oh, actually, let's kind of go through this, our early prediction.
Immediately right there.
Yeah, Buffalo and the Jets. What do you think?
Who's the home team?
Jets.
Probably Jets, but it might be close.
Mitch?
Buffalo with the Jets. Jets will win.
New England at Indy?
That could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I'll be bold and predict an upset by New England.
I'll go with Indy.
Yeah, Indy. Oh, hard one. Next one, Denver going down to Houston, watching them putting the banner up. Who do you guys think? Guessing on that one?
I think Denver will pull off the upset.
Yeah, Denver's a tough team. Even Mitch had commented, you just can't. Yeah, you gotta pack a lunch when you play them. Mitch?
Well, if they're, I'm sure they'll have changed up a few things since I beat them 30-7 in the playoffs. So we'll see.
All right. Pittsburgh and Vegas.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Jacksonville and Seattle.
Jacksonville what?
Jacksonville against Seattle.
Oh, tie.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna
Just say
I'll go with Seattle since I said Jacksonville take a step back this season. I'll go with Seattle.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah. Let's see. Philly and Washington.
Washington.
Yeah. Minnesota, San Francisco.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chicago and Atlanta.
Chicago.
Right now, I will say Chicago, but
We're just going to be honored to take the field with the Cardinals. You know that.
Okay, Coach Grohl. Yeah. Mixed in with a little bit of Lou Holtz. And Green Bay against the Giants.
Green Bay and who?
The Giants.
Green Bay.
Really?
Charlotte's Giants, but I'm thinking Green Bay will find a way to score more points in that game.
All right. Okay.
What do you say?
Because sometimes the Giants can put together a good game plan, but I don't know. I'm going to go for the upset. I'm going for the Giants. I'm going to give the Giants a chance. And Sugar's in my conference or my division, so yeah. I'm starting off early talking trash. So, all right, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I think we kind of packed a lot in there in a short amount of time. So we are back. The goal this season is to do our shows on Sundays, and we're doing a test right now through the Discord. So I think for future shows, I'm going to tweak it and see if we can do more shows on Discord and maybe get a little audience with us. So we'll see what we can get next week, and I'll give you guys an update on that. So as we are coming to finish up, we're going to go around the table one last time, starting with Dean.
Well, I guess next week will be our first regular, before week one show.
Yep.
This was an off-season show where we discussed a lot of things. So, I think everyone's looking forward to starting new season. I think the length of the off-season was just about right. I know me personally, I pretty much got done everything I wanted to do during this off-season. I know in the past we talked about, was the off-season too long? Was it shorter? Some folks, including one coach who was here, would get impatient. I'm ready to start week one, tomorrow. Like the day after the Super Bowl.
Right.
So I think the length of this offseason was just about right. We went through the draft fairly efficiently. I know there was some impatience with that, but it took a little more than 3 days, which is still very good to do all 7 rounds of the draft on the forum the way we're doing it. So I think that's really good that we can get the draft done in a few days.
Right.
Without everyone feeling pressured to make bad picks because you're on the clock, using draft stock where you got 2 minutes to make a pick. And, I think the use of draft stock kind of ended when that incident happened, and it was unfortunate. And I thought it was a joke at the time, but it was really done when James was disconnected and came back to find out that a punter had been drafted for him. I think after that pretty much
sealed the deal.
Yeah, that was the end of that. So, well, good luck to everyone this season, and we all look forward to starting week one in about a week and a half.
All right, Mitch, what do you got?
Well, I think I already put on email that first Friday night I will be on a little bit of a mini vacation down at spring training, and so I think Dean's going to get things kicked off with Friday Night Lights that night. I'm sure I'll join a little bit later in the evening after being out and about at Hogan's Hideout or Hideaway, whatever it's called down there. But so that'll be geared up, ready to go. So please join or please make plans to join if you can, because that seems to become now kind of the I don't know, the highlight now is a bunch of us just hanging out, goofing and crapping and on each other and making fun of each other's bad coaching decisions and everything else on Friday night. Yeah. So join if you can. Other than that, it's been fun sitting there being obnoxious with you all today. I'll try to be my normal self going forward, but glad to be back get the show back going. And so, Mark, the only thing left to do now is let's get it.